Meet Clay, the Director of Emergency Grants Management for Anywheresville, a quaint mountain town not far from you. Clay is in a big jam. He has too much to do and not enough time to do it. But recently, Clay found a novel solution to his problem. This is Clay's story. Last year, Anywheresville got a boatload of funding, thanks to the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. And though the grant seemed like nothing more than free money for the taking, kind of like Play-Doh, Clay soon learned that it was a whole lot more complicated than that. ARPA requires Anywheresville, and every town like it, to file really long, really complex reports on how towns put ARPA funds to work. Clay soon learned that he had to file multiple reports every year with the U.S. Treasury Department, and that each report required detailed data from all kinds of different sources. As a result, Clay soon felt like a man under attack. Data came at him from every department, all from different systems, and in an array of formats. Reporting deadlines and rigorous compliance requirements came at him like bolts of lightning from a fearsome mountain storm. But Clay never gave up hope that skies would clear someday. He just didn't know how to survive in the meantime. Then, one day, a new friend came to Anywheresville with a solution to Clay's problem that was out of this world. This new friend taught Clay how he could do more than solve his ARPA problem. Clay could use advanced systems integration technology to cut his reporting and compliance work in half, or maybe even more. Using the time saved, Clay could in fact double the funding Anywheresville got from federal funders. And best of all, Clay learned that the solution wouldn't cost Anywheresville a dime. Clay ran the numbers, doing a sequence of calculations that proved to be much simpler than he thought. Here's a breakdown of his logic. First, Clay began by dividing his annual salary of $100,000 by 2,000, which was the total number of hours he worked each year. As a result, Clay found out that each hour of his time cost the town about $50. Next, Clay calculated that it would likely take him about 160 hours or a month of work to compile an ARPA report. This accounted for the time he'd need to do things like gather data from many sources, integrate and synthesize data, reformat all of it to make it uniform, and assure that it matched the most current reporting rules. He multiplied 160 hours by his hourly cost and learned that each report would cost Anywheresville about $8,000. Clay then multiplied the number by 6. He did so in order to account for 4 quarterly reports plus 2 additional annual reports required by the Treasury Department. And since reports were due through 2026, Clay multiplied this total by 5, accounting for reporting deadlines across the lifetime of the ARPA program. Thanks to Clay's calculator, his understanding of his core problem wasn't muddy anymore. Reporting on ARPA over the program's lifetime would cost Anywheresville about $240,000. Dividing that number by his hourly rate, and then by 5, Clay further learned that ARPA reporting would require right around 1,000 hours, or about half his time, each year. This meant Clay could only manage 2 grants a year, given that reporting frequency and scope of both were similar. Next, Clay considered the alternative solution taught to him by his new friend. According to his friend's plan, Clay could cut grants management time in half by using advanced system integration and automation to streamline ARPA reporting. He multiplied his annual burden of hours by his hourly rate, and then again by 5, thus accounting for each year covered by ARPA funding. From this calculation, Clay learned that he could save Anywheresville about $120,000 over the long haul, all simply by embracing advanced grants management technology. Moreover, with Clay's newfound time, he could double the number of grants and grant funding that Anywheresville got to better the quaint mountain town. Clay sat back and reflected on his calculations, and as he kicked up his clay feet, his eyes began to sparkle with the best news of all. It would cost Anywheresville absolutely nothing to double the town's grants management capability. Plus, it would cost absolutely nothing to cut the town's grants management's costs in half. That's because ARPA funds can be used to upgrade technology that every town uses to better programs and services that benefit residents. Adding a smile to the sparkle in his eyes, Clay then realized that he could use the ozone implementation project as a way to onboard and teach city employees how to use the system, promoting immediate, widespread adoption of the platform. It was sunnier than usual in Anywheresville on the day that the town council approved Clay's plan to spend ARPA funds on new, cloud-based grants management software called Ozone. Perfect weather for Clay, who was flying high. And why not? After all, he'd become the town's newly named hometown hero. All because he'd taken Play-Doh and made it the way to grow. The way to grow benefit for May and Jade and Faye and Ray. And even Clay and Kay's new addition, a bouncing baby boy named Trey. Plus every other resident of Anywheresville that day